Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Corey Burrows. I'm the project engineer for this project with the Connecticut Department of Transportation. We're here to talk about Project 125, 131. In another minute or so, we're going to play a pre-recorded presentation prepared by the design team that'll run you through the basics of this project and how it'll impact the public. So sit back, enjoy the presentation, and stay tuned afterwards for a live Q&A session with the design team. All right, Jeff, go ahead and hit play.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the virtual public informational meeting for State Project 125-131, which is the replacement of bridge number 421 carrying Route 4 over Guinea Brook in Sharon, Connecticut. My name is Corey Burrows from the Connecticut Department of Transportation Consulting Bridge Design Team, and I will be the MC tonight for this virtual public informational meeting. We hope that everybody finds this presentation informative and that we'll be able to address any questions or concerns you may have. Before we get started with the main presentation, I want to walk through the goals and format for tonight's meeting. First, I will introduce the project team, including the CTDOT leadership, the consultant liaison, and the design team. I will also explain how to interact with us during the meeting. Then we will have the technical portion of the presentation, which will include the condition of the existing structure, the purpose and need for the project, and the proposed preliminary design. Following the technical presentation, we will open it up for comments and questions. As part of the Title VI Civil Rights, no person shall, on the basis of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation or subject to discrimination in the development of this project. A link is provided on this slide for additional civil rights information. We would greatly appreciate it if you would complete the public survey after tonight's meeting. A link and a QR code are provided on this slide. Links to both the public survey and the civil rights flyer are also available on the project webpage. This is the Title VI Notice to the Public, which states that the Connecticut Department of Transportation operates its programs and services without regards to race, color, and national origin in accordance with the Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. Any person who believes he or she has been aggrieved by any unlawful discriminatory practice under Title VI may file a complaint with the Connecticut Department of Transportation. Available to those joining us tonight through Zoom is the option to view captions or subtitles. To turn on this feature, select the Show Captions button or the CC button at the bottom of your screen. Then select the Speaking Language button and then select the desired language. To use the Zoom Q&A function, select the Q&A tool at the bottom of the webinar window. The Q&A window will open as seen on the right. Then you can type the question in the text box and click Enter, and it will submit the question. Questions can be submitted in multiple ways. For the quickest response, please submit questions through the Zoom Q&A as noted on the previous slide. This function is only available during tonight's meeting. If you would like to submit your questions through email, please use the email provided. That's dotproject0125-0131@ct.gov. And lastly, if you prefer to submit your question by phone, you can call 860-594-2020 and leave a voicemail. Please state your name and reference the project number as the reason for your call in the voicemail. The project email, voicemail, and Q&A box will be screened by the project team, and the project team will then read the questions out loud. Questions may be asked at any time during the presentation, but they will be answered at the end. There's also a project webpage where a recording of tonight's presentation will be made available. The webpage will also include information that was explained on how to leave questions and comments for the project team. That website is shown on this slide. The question and comment period by email or phone will be open through April 8th. Questions or comments after tonight's meeting may be submitted until April 8th via email or voicemail. I'd like to introduce the project team. First, from the CTDOT, we have Gregory Funk, the principal engineer, Francisco Fadul, supervising engineer, Corey Burrows, project engineer, and Jack Carlson, project coordinator for rights of way. Additionally, CHA Consulting is working on the project as the department's consultant liaison engineers. From CHA, we have Don Wurst, CLE Program Manager, and Jeff Parker, CLE Project Manager. Mont McDonald will be the design engineer for this project. This slide shows a map of Connecticut and just highlights the location of Sharon relative to the rest of Connecticut. Note that Sharon is part of Connecticut Department of Transportation District 4. Here you will see the location of the project site relative to Route 4 and East Street. I will now hand the presentation over to Jack Carlson to discuss the rights-of-way process.
Thank you, Corey. Good evening. My name is Jack Carlson, and I'm a project coordinator with the department's Division of Rights-of-Way. Our office is responsible for acquiring the private rights necessary for transportation projects. As you'll see as the presentation continues, this project will require the acquisition of property rights, so I'd like to give a brief overview of the department's acquisition process. Any required property rights will be acquired in accordance with Connecticut General Statutes sections 13A73 and 13A98E, as well as the Federal Uniform Act. Additionally, I'd like to note that the specific right-of-way impacts for this project are still being finalized and may change as the project design progresses. The right-of-way acquisition process begins once the project design has progressed to a development milestone and all of the impacts have been determined. At this point, each affected property owner will receive from our office a formal letter of intent to acquire, or what we call our initial letter, along with a property map which depicts the specific property rights that are being acquired. Next, our office will determine the fair market value of those property rights, which will be used to establish an offer of just compensation. That offer will be sent out to the property owner in writing, and a rights-of-way agent will be available to meet with the property owner to explain the project, go over the specific impacts to their property, and review the department's offer. The property owner will then have a reasonable amount of time, typically 30 days, to consider the department's offer and enter into negotiations. When an agreement is reached, the department will then prepare all the necessary paperwork to record the deed and property map on the town land records. However, if an agreement is unable to be reached, in order to keep the project on schedule, the department will acquire the necessary property rights through its power of eminent domain. In that event, the state files a notice of condemnation in the Superior Court along with a monetary deposit in the amount of the department's initial offer. The affected property owner would then have 6 months from that date to file an appeal if they felt the department's offer was inadequate. Whether or not the property owner chooses to appeal, the money deposited in the court is available to be withdrawn by the owner. It's important to note that the department only acquires property rights that are needed for the project. If there are any questions regarding the right-of-way acquisition process, I can answer them after the presentation. And with that, I'll hand it off to Jeff Parker. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Again, my name is Jeff Parker. I am a principal engineer with CHA Consulting. CHA is a consultant liaison engineer for CTDOT. And my role is to work with the design engineer and help oversee delivery of the project. I will be presenting the technical aspects of the project on behalf of the design team, including details of the preliminary design that is currently in development. First, some discussion on bridge number 421. This is a 93-year-old concrete structure built in 1933. The bridge carries 2 lanes of Route 4 and spans 24 feet over Guinea Brook. Interestingly, Guinea Brook is classified as a cold water stream and fish habitat and as a tributary of the Housatonic River. The latest bridge inspection was completed in March of 2025 and rated the overall structure in poor condition. Some of the representative structural issues include spalling and cracking of the concrete deck. You can see this in the photo on the left, which also shows white efflorescence and some notable concrete deterioration with exposed and corroded steel rebar. There is also cracking and spalling with concrete deterioration at the abutments and wing walls, as shown in the middle photo. The existing bridge is also considered scour critical, with the previous inspection documenting partially exposed abutment footings along the channel of Guinea Brook. The purpose of this project is to address the structural and hydraulic deficiencies of bridge number 421. The need includes providing a safe, cost-effective, and low-maintenance solution to address these deficiencies. The need also includes conveying the 100-year brook flows and providing scour protection at the brook crossing. The proposed project will provide full replacement of the existing bridge, including complete demolition and removal of the deck, abutments, and wing walls, and construction of a new concrete structure. As shown in this typical cross-section of the bridge, the new deck structure will be constructed of precast, pre-stressed concrete deck units, which will provide durability and long service life of the new deck. The proposed bridge will span 39 feet over Guinea Brook, compared to the existing span of 24 feet, which improves the hydraulic capacity of the brook crossing. The proposed bridge will also have new concrete parapets with crash-worthy approach railings, guide railing end treatments along the Route 4 shoulders. This is an overall plan of the proposed improvements with the new bridge structure shown in orange. The improvements include approximately 865 feet of work on Route 4 that will consist of full-depth roadway construction at the bridge approaches and along the shoulders. This work is shown in yellow. The improvements will also include realignment of East Street at the intersection of Route 4 with drainage modifications and approximately 325 feet of full-depth reconstruction of East Street. This work is also shown in yellow. The approximate limits of grading for the bridge and roadway work are shown in green. This plan shows a closer view of the bridge and East Street realignment. The center of the intersection will move approximately 30 feet east of its existing location to provide space for the crash-worthy approach railing at the northeast corner of the bridge and to improve turning operations from East Street to westbound Route 4. The issue of limited sight lines from East Street will also be addressed with the proposed improvements here. There will be some permanent property impacts that we'll discuss in a few minutes due to the required grading along East Street, which is shown in green on the plan. The work along East Street will also include some modifications and improvements to the existing drainage system and replacement of the existing pipe that outlets to the brook. This is a cross-section of East Street from the perspective of looking north up the roadway from Route 4. The section shows the proposed location of East Street relative to the existing location, with the realignment shifting East Street to the east. This shift will require rock removal and regrading the slope along the property of 272 East Street. This is illustrated on the right side of the section. The roadway is proposed to be 24 feet wide to meet the minimum standard width and will have graded swales as needed to capture and convey stormwater runoff along the roadway. This is the profile along the center line of the proposed East Street realignment with the intersection of Route 4 on the left side. The existing ground is shown as a dashed line. The proposed grade is shown as a solid line. You can see where the roadway will be cutting through the existing slope and rock on the left side of this profile, and will be matching the existing roadway grade on the right side. The important point to note here is that the proposed grade on East Street approaching Route 4 will be approximately the same as the existing grade and will flatten out at the stop location. As I discussed on the proposed roadway plan, the realignment of East Street will provide space for a crash-worthy approach railing at the northeast corner of the bridge and will improve turning operations from East Street at the Route 4 intersection. This realignment will also have permanent right-of-way impacts on 272 East Street. These impacts include acquisition of additional right-of-way to accommodate the proposed footprint of the East Street improvements. The approximate location of the proposed highway line or right-of-way is shown as a dashed red line, and the approximate area that will be acquired is shaded orange on this plan. The right-of-way impacts also include an easement to slope along this frontage that will allow for long-term maintenance of a safe slope that grades back from the drainage swale up to the existing property. The easement will incorporate the limits of grading beyond the highway line. The approximate outside limit of the easement slope is shaded purple on this plan. Other temporary rights or easements that are needed for construction will be determined and confirmed during subsequent design phases of this project. One anticipated right is the right to reconstruct the driveway to 319 East Street, which is shaded yellow. Moving on to the construction phase, safe travel through the work zone throughout construction is paramount for both the traveling public and for the construction and inspection crews. We anticipate the project will be constructed in stages, with 3 primary stages needed to construct the new bridge and East Street improvements. Stage 1 will be the East Street realignment. Stage 2 will be the construction of the eastbound side or south side of the bridge. And Stage 3 will be the construction of the westbound side or north side of the bridge. The Maintenance and Protection of Traffic, or MPT plan for Stage 1 and the realignment of East Street will maintain southbound traffic on East Street to Route 4 when the contractor is not working. When the contractor is working during weekday, daytime hours, they will be allowed to fully close East Street at the work zone just north of Route 4 so that they can excavate, remove rock, install drainage within this limited space. During these daytime closures, there will be a detour in place that directs local traffic around the closure between East Street and Route 4 via Ticknor Road. Based on the latest traffic data, there will be approximately 130 vehicles impacted each time East Street is closed for Stage 1 construction. The MPT plan for Stage 2 will maintain alternating one-way traffic on the westbound side of Route 4 through the work zone for construction of the eastbound side of the bridge. Temporary traffic signals will be installed on Route 4 where eastbound traffic needs to cross over. The approximate locations of these signals are shown on the left and right sides of the plan. There will also be a temporary traffic signal facing East Street and facing the driveway for 539 Cornwall Bridge Road. These signals will be red to hold traffic exiting these locations. When a vehicle arrives from East Street, for example, the Route 4 signals will turn red on both ends. Traffic will clear the work zone on Route 4, and the signal facing East Street will turn green, allowing the vehicle and other vehicles queued behind it to turn left or right onto Route 4. The signal at the driveway will function in the same way. The MPT plan for Stage 3 is similar to Stage 2, except alternating one-way traffic will be maintained on the eastbound side of Route 4 through the work zone for construction of the westbound side of the bridge. The temporary traffic signal setup will generally be the same as Stage 2. After Stage 3, the rest of the work on Route 4, including full-depth shoulder construction, milling and paving, line striping, this work can be done under more temporary MPT measures with two-way traffic maintained on Route 4 during non-working hours. With that, I will turn the presentation back over to Corey.
Thank you, Jeff. This slide highlights the preliminary project schedule and cost, which are subject to change as the design progresses. For schedule, we are currently in the preliminary design phase and will be moving to the final design later this summer. We anticipate the construction will begin in fall of 2029. The anticipated construction cost is about $8 million. The project will be funded with 80% federal and 20% state funds. No town funds will be utilized for this project. Please note that this schedule is subject to the availability of state and federal funds. That concludes the presentation for tonight's meeting. We will now move into the open forum portion for your comments and questions. As a reminder, you can enter your questions into the Zoom Q&A window. You can also submit an email at the following email address, dotprojects125-0131@ct.gov, or call 860-594-2020 and leave a voicemail, and the project team will get back to you as soon as we can.
All right, that concludes the pre-recorded portion of tonight's presentation. We'll move on now to the live Q&A. So any questions you have for the design team, you can post them right in the Zoom Q&A window. And as a reminder, if you have something that you think about after or you'd like a more detailed email response, you can submit by email to the email posted on the slide here, dotproject125-0131@ct.gov. You can also call 860-594-2020 and leave a voicemail. Please leave your name and make sure you reference the project number and the town of Sharon in your voicemail. And for recording this presentation after, you can visit the project website where the YouTube link will be posted for later viewing. I see Gary posted a question. Is it too soon to inquire about erosion and sedimentation controls during construction? I'm going to hand this one off to Jeff. Jeff, go ahead.
Hey, Corey, thank you. Is it too soon to think about erosion control I don't think so. Something we think about as part of our overall design process. So we are in preliminary design phase where we're trying to, determine what the scope of the improvements are going to be and confirm that. And once we move beyond the preliminary phase, then we'll get into a closer look at the grading associated with the project and the limits of the grading for the roadway improvements, as well as looking at the bridge and how the bridge is going to be installed and what those impacts are going to be in and around Guinea Brook. So once we have those limits of work determined, more, towards the middle of design, towards the later half of design. We'll be looking at where to provide for erosion and sedimentation control measures. The silt fence along the perimeter of the graded slopes, some of the inlet protection for where we have closed drainage systems, those types of things. Those will be formally designed later on. Again, things we're thinking about now, but those will be designed later on. And those measures will also be included in a stormwater pollution control plan that will be part of the permit with Connecticut Deep. That is the stormwater general permit registration that will be obtained for the project prior to the project going to construction. So, all the permitting process and design process will work to ensure that we have all the necessary measures outlined and included in the contract for the contractor to install for, as part of the best management practices of the construction of the project.
All right, thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
I do want to add there's also going to be extensive fisheries coordination as well with this project because of the fisheries habitat. So that's also going to be part of the permitting process later on as the project develops.
Yep, there will be time of year restrictions associated with that. So there will be
Mhm.
limited times when we can do unconfined work in the stream.
All right. And Gary, I never received the email that you spoke about on the phone. So if you want to just shoot me an email after this meeting, we can get in touch. Thanks. Another question from Gary. How do I stay updated on the designs and plans? I can answer this one. Gary, you can just shoot me an email to inquire about this. I think you have my email, but I'll also drop it in the chat here. So if you want to send me an email anytime to inquire about the project and what stage it's in, feel free. Thanks, Gary. So just a reminder, the comment period is open until April 8th. So you can send an email to dotproject 0125-0131@ct.gov, or you can leave a voicemail by calling 860-594-2020. Make sure you reference the project number, the town, and leave your name, and we'll get back to you. Just a reminder, the Zoom Q&A is only available during tonight's meeting. Gary asks if there's a way he can speak on this call. Sure, Gary, I can enable you to talk. Let me. All right, Gary, you should be able to chat with us.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, and it's just awkward sitting here. A lot of information flying by. When will the right of way acquisition stuff roughly be decided? That's kind of what we're most. So I'm represent the Walton Fishing Club, and we've had rights to the brook on one side or the other since about 1900. So we stock the brook, we fish the brook. One of our access, actually, two of our accesses are off of East Street. Um, so we're a little sensitive to the work. Not that we're planning for this to be confrontational, but we certainly don't want to lose property rights, and we want to make sure that whatever's done, we make sure we're aligned with fisheries, so we don't do something bad to the brook. Um, so when will the right of way acquisition be finalized? That's the trigger I'm kind of watching, because it was a relatively short window before it automatically goes to eminent domain. And not that you're necessarily going to need something from us, but I don't want to miss that trigger.
Yeah,
I
I'll,
think Jack
I'll
can
answer.
answer this. Thanks, Jack.
Sorry, yeah, I'll answer that for you, Gary. So we haven't reached a point in the project development yet where we will have any. Um, we have ideas like where we believe we'll have right-of-way impacts, but until we have property maps created, we're not going to have any formal acquisition process begin. What I'll tell you is I'm the project coordinator for this, so I can get your information from Corey, or you can also, I'll put my email in the chat as well, and you can send me an email, and I'll keep you in the loop as far as if there is any anticipated impacts on your property. Um,
Yep. Yep.
and we'll just make sure that, we'll stay in contact and, um, you know, be sensitive. I'm an outdoorsman myself, so I completely understand your concerns there. And but while there is we say typical amount of time, about typically 30 days, depending on the project schedule, and depending on the complexity of negotiations, there is a little bit of flexibility with that depending on where we're at. But we won't. The last thing we'll do is go straight to eminent domain. We'll make sure we take every effort to make sure that we have an open dialogue. And if I can get your
Perfect.
information now, that makes things move a lot quicker for acquisition agents when they do make an offer out.
Yeah, I just sent a note to Corey, so he's got my email. So we should be good there. The
Okay.
the only the only thing I was wondering if we could incorporate is when you turn up East Street, there's a little white cape in the driveway that's going to be reworked. Um, just next to it is one of our right of ways. It would be nice if we could get a curb cut there out of this, just to make sure we can have a place to park a car to access the brook. That's all. Is it
All right.
something we can work into this? Maybe.
I can't speak to that. I mean, at this point in the design,
Yeah.
it's pretty early, but I think we could definitely consider it. I mean, we'll have Corey and Jeff. We'll have a discussion about that.
And I'm not putting you against the wall. I'm planting a seed. We could talk about it as the design matures. You guys have a long way ahead of you.
Hmm.
Yeah, Corey, I'll just say that, yeah, certainly it's not our intent to negatively affect the access that you currently have, right?
Right.
As a designer, I just want to be sure we fully understand what your functional needs are for that access and exactly where it is. I know there's a hint of an access that shows up on the project survey. It's not super well defined. It's something we'll take another look at actually out in the field and look where that is. But in terms of the nature of the access, you have vehicles going down there. Is it just four wheelers? Is it like
It
is
would
it
be a.
just
It
walking
would.
access? What the nature of that it will be helpful. Obviously, you asked for a curb cut, so there's some sort of vehicle access that you're looking for.
Yeah, we used to have a member that lived on the stream, the next house up on Route 4, on the east side. And he since sold the property. He's no longer a club member. We used to park in his driveway to access the brook, and we are without access to park a car and
Oh.
access our brook. So we're looking for a way to get access. Now we have frontage, like I said, next area up after the driveway, and then there's another one after that house. But we're trying to figure out how to do that. So if there's a way we can work with you on this, it would be really great.
Yeah, because we'll have to take a closer look at what the slope grading is there. Obviously, we're moving the road a little bit further away, so there is going to be. I don't want to speak too much, but
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
the
just
existing road is there, and that area. The existing road in that area is going to be removed, so there's going to be a little bit more space, so to speak, adjacent to the new west edge of the road of East Street. So there might be some opportunities that we can certainly look at, or the designer can look at going forward, and we can have more discussions. Certainly with the club as it gets further into the design here.
yeah, perfect. And maybe we can work together because you're going to take a fair amount of material out as you hoe ram till the end of time on the side of that hill. All good. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Gary, did you email Corey Burrows at ct.gov or did you email the project email? I
I
just
did.
haven't seen an email come through yet.
Hold on a minute. I'll make sure. I think let's see what it says. Address. Oh, I got two R's in Corey. I'll send it again.
That would do it.
Yeah, I fat fingered R. Too many R's. You can mute me now, Corey.
All right. Good talking to you, Gary. We'll be in touch.
Yeah, let's stay close. I don't need any more best friends, but I don't want to. I don't want to fall asleep.
Gotcha. No, we'll be in touch.
That concludes the presentation.
Any other thoughts from anybody else? Any other questions? Just a reminder, we have the comment period will be open until April 8th. After that, we'll have an official report of meeting put together, basically summarizing today's meeting, the questions that were asked and the answers, and any questions that were received afterwards via email or voicemail. And you can also visit the project webpage for other project materials, including most of the visuals that we presented tonight. All right, Gary, I just got your email. All right, if there are any more questions, I think we'll wrap this up for tonight. Thanks everybody for joining us tonight. We appreciate your time and your input. And again, if you have any thoughts after the meeting, the comment period is open until April 8th. You can submit comments and questions by email, phone. The email is dotproject0125-0131@ct.gov. And the phone number to call is 860-594-2020. When you leave a voicemail, make sure you leave your name, project number, and reference the town Sharon in your voicemail. Thanks, everybody, and have a great evening.